Hi everybody. My name is Jens. I'm head of product at RevenueCat. In case you don't know what RevenueCat does, is we do in-app purchase, infrastructure, analytics, integrations, all of that good stuff. But I'm not really here to talk about RevenueCat today. Previously, I was also in the shoes of a lot of you, kind of running product and monetization at a health and fitness app. So today, I want to talk about 10 app monetization ideas. I have 15 minutes, so I figured I can't really go in depth with anything, but I can go broad maybe. Just quickly, no need to snap pictures of the slides. They're available online. This QR code will take you there. It's on every slide, so don't need to take photos of everything. All right, first idea is about kind of CRM and how to target effectively monetization campaigns. Offers and discounts can be a good way to increase your ARPU or your LTV by both getting more users to pay and getting users to pay more. And what you always want to do is you want to maximize the conversion, right? Get as many people to subscribe as possible, maximize your revenue from those conversions, and minimize cannibalization, meaning you don't want to give a discount to people who would have otherwise bought at the full price. So how do you do that? You target users with high but not high enough intent or willingness to pay. So in other words, somebody who has a high intent but not quite high enough to buy at the full price. And here are some ideas for segments to target that maybe exhibit this behavior. First one is abandoned cart. This is very common in e-commerce, but in the app space still not used quite nearly enough. So somebody who started but then canceled the purchase, they displayed signal of intent, but maybe not quite enough to convert at the full price. Engaged but did not purchase, so somebody who sticks around but hasn't started a trial, for example, within the first 7 days, give them a discount. Started but canceled trial, again, high enough intent to start the trial, but maybe enough to convert at the full price. And lastly, customer is about to cancel, so somebody who started and paid and now is canceling, give them a discount to try and get them to stick around. If you're using RevenueCat, we have an upcoming feature that will allow you to do that with basically almost zero configuration. Second topic, completely different, win-back offers. In case this is not on your radar, this is something that Apple announced at WWDC this year and is available in iOS 18 Plus. And it allows developers to extend offers to churn subscribers. And it's much, much simpler than previous promotional offers. And what is even more interesting about this is that it can be redeemed in multiple places, not just in your app, but also throughout the App Store. Eligibility criteria, you can set those in App Store Connect, and it does require StoreKit too. Just some ways that this can actually be displayed. In your app, you can use these StoreKit messages that just pop up on top of your app, implemented by Apple. In the store, multiple entry points on your page, in the App Store directly, and even inside Apple's subscription management screen. As I said, you can set up the eligibility criteria in App Store Connect itself. So something like a minimum pay duration, time since the customer last subscribed, and the time to wait between offers. Third idea, reduce your App Store refund rate. This is a case study from audiobook app Dipsy, where we reduced their refund rate on Apple from 3% to 1.9%, so there's a 36% drop. How do we do that? Well, Apple has this consumption request API, where basically whenever a customer requests a refund from Apple, they send a notification to your server. And you can then respond with information about this customer, including how much time that they spent using your app, did they access any content, what is their lifetime purchase history, how often are they using the app, did they have any refunds in the past, and what is your preference for whether to grant or not grant a refund. And you have to send this back within 12 hours because Apple obviously needs to make a decision there. The interesting bit about the Dipsy case study here is we didn't even tell them to deny the refund. We just let Apple decide. And based on this better information that Apple had available, that saved the app literally thousands of dollars. Fourth idea, maximizing value capture along the demand curve. So, if you've ever been in an economics lecture, you've seen this. This is a demand curve, which basically gives you a relationship between the price that you charge for a good and the demand that you get, right? And the revenue is then obviously the price times the demand. And depending on the price that you set, with a lower price, you get a higher demand, and with a higher price, you get a lower demand, and ideally, you're kind of trying to maximize the area in this yellow square there. Now, what if you could actually charge multiple prices? Wouldn't that be great? Obviously, that yellow shape here is bigger than any of the individual squares, or rectangles, I should say. And it turns out you can. So here's an example. Tinder has 3 different subscription tiers at different prices, and thereby maximizing the amounts that they get from their customers. So try to think about other ways in which I can charge different customers different prices. Here's another example from Bumble, which has 2 different subscription tiers, but then also a bunch of consumables, which you can use to basically not just grab the lower price point here with something like a much smaller initial amount, but also people can buy multiple consumables. Speaking of consumables, then idea 5. Lots of apps are based on a subscription model, and again, that's what we support at RevenueCat very well. But consumables can be a very good input to, again, like maximizing this demand, this value capture. So here's some ideas for use cases for consumables. Lots of AI apps have credits, right? I mean, because for AI apps, typically they have a marginal cost for the goods that they produce because it actually costs money to run those servers. So you'll often see these credits. In this case, Suno has a subscription plus a top-up. So the subscription gets you a number of credits, and then you can top up with consumables for individual credits. Galatea, another audiobook app, has points, and here you can actually do subscriptions or points. So that's kind of maybe a little bit more similar to that Bumble example, where if you want to go all in, you go with the subscription, but maybe there's just individual content that you want to access, then you buy these points. Another super interesting example here is Telegram, who've actually built out kind of a creator economy in their app with the ability to buy stars, and you can then use those stars to buy content, to buy bots in the bot store from other creators. And Telegram actually pays out, once you've accumulated stars as a creator of a bot, Telegram pays you out some money there, minus a fee that Telegram charges. And lastly, this is an example from Slopes, a skiing app, where they have this day pass bundle where you can basically use the app for 7 days, 7 individual days. And one thing that I find really interesting about this example is that it also kind of taps into a psychological trick of mental accounting, where this comes out like mentally, not out of your digital goods subscription budget, but out of your ski trip budget, right? Like you're bundling this mentally more with the fact that, well, I buy a ski pass, and now I buy a pass for my ski app, right? Which, that's a very different budget and a very different mental framing. Number 6, localize your pricing. I mean, by now, probably everybody knows that you should localize your pricing because different countries and currencies have very different purchasing powers. One thing to think about there is what kind of product are you selling, right? Are you selling a mass market product, in which case you probably want to stay closer to the purchasing power of the respective country, versus a luxury product, which is probably more priced similarly across different countries. And obviously, you should always A/B test your pricing to ensure that you're maximizing LTV and not just pricing something because you think it should be priced that way. Just a couple of inputs there. Very well known is the Economist's Big Mac Index, which looks at what does a Big Mac cost in different cities around the world. You can use that basically as a proxy for purchasing power, or maybe more relevant for digital goods, something like you're looking at Netflix subscription pricing. Number 7, then, localizing or customizing your monetization model. So this goes a little bit beyond just the pricing, but actually thinking about different purchasing preferences in different countries. So one thing here that is interesting, and this is data from Google Play, where they looked at what do people buy in different regions. And in North America, the primary market for many apps, 86% of buyers in apps are subscribers. Whereas, like, if you look at East Asia, Japan, Korea, it's actually much more evenly split between subscriptions and one-off purchases. So, really thinking about, can I offer different things in different markets? So here are some ideas for how to differentiate this. For example, trial versus non-trial. Again, some countries are more have a higher preference for trials versus not. Consumables, I already mentioned this. Non-recurring subscriptions like season passes, installments or prepaid. These are things, especially on the Google side, where Google has just broadened the ability to offer different things. Number 8, making users grind. Here the idea is, can you somehow allow users to grind or pay to unlock benefits? The idea here is the IKEA effect. So this is, again, another kind of psychological trick where people attribute greater value to something that they have invested effort into. So if you've ever built one of those shelves, you kind of know that, the feeling that, like, this is mine, I made this with my own hands. And this is Duolingo, obviously very well known, and has many ways to grind to unlock things, but also ways to pay. And the idea here is basically that by allowing users to grind, they will value the thing that you give them for money more than if you would have just given them the thing for money. Number 9, tapping into user psychology and onboarding. So this is an example from MyFitnessPal with a whopping 12-step onboarding, followed by a paywall, followed by the actual app and user experience. And this has kind of IKEA effect written all over it. Again, you invest time in this, and that makes you value what you're getting out of this more. Again, so there's kind of 2 ways to frame this. The IKEA effect that I already talked about. Another way to think about this is the sunk cost effect, or escalation of commitment, that people are more likely to keep investing in something that they have already invested in. Another psychological trick, or another couple of psychological tricks that MyFitnessPal is using here is on this account creation screen, which is one of the 12 screens. It uses the so-called cocktail party effect by calling me by my name. People do pay more attention to something that references them directly. And the personalization bias. It gives me my personal goal. It's something that is personalized to me. And again, that is something that people attribute more relevance to if they feel that something is tailored to them. Last idea, presenting a decoy offer. So again, another psychological trick, the decoy effect. People change preferences when an inferior option is introduced. So let me just explain how that works in theory. So imagine you go to the movies, there's 2 sizes of popcorn available, the small one for $3 and the large one for $6. You might go for the small one because that's a very big serving of popcorn. I'm not going to eat all of that. However, what now happens if you introduce another option for $5, the medium for $5, suddenly this decoy makes people change their preferences because they feel like for only $1 more than the medium, I can get the large. That's a really good deal. I should go for that. You don't really find this very exactly like this in apps, but you do find something similar. So here's one example. This is the Lensa app, and spot the decoy offer. You have this toggle here to enable the free trial. Obviously, the free trial option is absolutely better than not getting the free trial. You're literally getting 7 days free for the same price, but it makes the trial offer more attractive because there is the option to buy the same thing without the trial. All right, that was my last one, but I do have a bonus one here. This is an idea that I got last week. This is Flighty's Black Friday offer. And it's really interesting because what they're doing is they're keeping the regular annual price, but they offer 3 extra months. And at first I was kind of stumped. How are they doing that? Oh yeah, it retains that premium positioning by not discounting, but actually giving you something extra. And at first I was a little bit stumped because I was like, are they doing this? You cannot pick a 15-month duration in App Store Connect. But I think what they're doing is they're using Apple's Extend Subscription API, which is a pretty clever use of that API. All right, that's everything. Thank you very much for listening.